You're afraid that the horror movie is too scary? This was the growing concern within the offices of Spilled Guts, the movie company specializing in horror films that had become one of the more prolific and dependable movie studios in Hollywood. The board members of Spilled Guts were currently in the midst of a long and progressively disturbing discussion about what to do with their most recent movie entitled Sleep Tight. Test screenings were through the roof. It was being hailed as the next Exorcist. You couldn't have dreamed for better buzz. A movie being described as so relentlessly tense you had to experience it to believe it. There was barely any violence or blood in the whole film. Yet all the feedback by test audiences said the same thing. I thought I was going to die while watching it. Was this a marketing ploy or reality? Nobody knew. Until Horace Pinter. Horace Pinter actually did die while watching the movie. He was a film critic, a very well-respected film critic. The eerie cherry on the super creepy sundae? Horace died precisely when the movie ended. Cut to black. For the film and Horace. As if the buzz wasn't potent enough, now it was widely known as a horror movie so terrifying it literally killed a film critic. Hollywood was never above doing what it took to make a buck. So why the hesitancy to release the film if it guaranteed big box office? Miranda Silver. Miranda Silver was the founding principal of Spilled Guts. She had taken a recent leave of absence for reasons undisclosed. The head of the snake doesn't need to tell you why they're taking time off. They just go away and come back when they feel fit. Nobody was in a position to ask more of her. She had built this company from the ground up and was there every step of the way. If she needed time, it must have been for good reasons. It was the first major decision that Spilled Guts had to make without her. They were at a standstill. Release the movie or not? This was a decision everyone around Tinseltown was waiting for, and the person who had always made these decisions was currently in Kauai, on a beach, staring at the ocean. The last thing she wanted to think about were movies. But herein lies the problem. She only thinks about movies. She woke up in a cold sweat. This is how she had been waking up lately. No matter how strict her exercise and diet had become, no matter how much meditation she practiced, no matter how much she did to trick her body into thinking it was not made of cinematic cells. Inevitably, it would come back to movies. It was now 5:55 a.m. The sun was coming up. It reminded her of a quote that her mom told her back when she was a kid that always stuck with her. An astronaut, when first seeing the Earth from space, said we don't go to heaven when we die. We go to heaven when we're born. If you need evidence, look no further than what Miranda was staring at. It was so beautiful. It made her wonder if there was a flip side to this majestic coin. If she was staring at heaven, did that prove that there was a hell? She didn't know. She did know that her head felt like hell. That's what trying to kick caffeine feels like for a coffee addict. Day 3 of withdrawals. Her body was confused, mentally and physically. It didn't know how to sit and idle. She was trying to avoid any semblance of creativity. It had brought her to a dark place. It had brought her to Sleep Tight. Her most recent film. The one that seemed to be gaining traction with the speed of a bullet. First, there was the studio screening. Then there was the private screening. Then there was the critic screen with Horace Pinter. Each instance was only magnifying the anticipation of this movie, or, to be more precise, film. That's how much hype Sleep Tight had accrued. It was being talked about as a film, as opposed to a movie. This is what Miranda had to not think about. The biggest adjustment was her lack of an assistant. She had been with an assistant directly or indirectly for over a decade. There was always a second or third pair of hands within texting distance to help with anything that needed help. She was flying solo. It was thrilling, but also scary. To be alone with your thoughts that had grown dark, hence the night sweats. She had seen Sleep Tight at least 10 times by this point. The director had invited Miranda to be in on every initial viewing to see the latest cut. She trusted Miranda because Miranda had trusted her to be the director. Normally, each subsequent viewing of a movie will dampen its effect. It's inevitable. It's expected. As with anything in life, there is a saturation to experiencing the same thing over and over and over again. But this was different. The film seemed to be gaining power with each new viewing. More horrifying. More real. Miranda had gone to her physician to acquire something to help her sleep. It didn't work. She started boxing. That didn't work. She cut out carbs. That didn't work. There seemed to be no remedy that could make her sleep without seeing it. The what of it could not be explained. There were fragments of this film in which unexplainable shadows appeared that defied logic or reason. You could see them if you were lucky enough to be in the editing bay. Michaela showed Miranda these bizarre shadows on more than one occasion. They went through it using a fine-toothed comb. They brought in the cinematographer, the production designer. How could there be a shadow in the shape of a person right there? And there, and there? Nobody knew how. When you watched the film in real time and not frame by frame, you would never see any of the shadows. But you could feel them. There was something palpable to the tension on screen that seemed to be affecting viewers in a way not experienced since The Exorcist. This was not the only trait these two films shared in common. There were also the on-set malfunctions. So many, in fact, that the legend of the film was enhanced when the crew members said that it was cursed. Multiple people from different departments said that they had to stop working after experiencing severe nightmares, which created a spreading feeling of insomnia. The only person in the crew that seemed unaffected by the lack of sleep was the director, Michaela. There are moments between the waking state and the dreamscape in which the mind enters a new realm. Michaela had become convinced that she was able to live in this sphere while directing and editing, which is why this movie felt so real when you watched it. Tapping into parts of your brain that normally remain dormant when you are awake were now rising to the surface. This film wants to wake you up, whether you want to or not. This was Michaela's line at the first screening for the studio. It haunted Miranda. There were scenes on screen which felt as if they were happening right in front of you. 3D horror without the glasses. This was something else. It wasn't until the movie ended during the screening in which everyone had the same thought. No music, none. This film had zero embellishment. The violence was minimal. You never saw anyone die. There was hardly any blood. So what was it? Nobody knew. The studio didn't care. They were thrilled. They wanted to put the bulk of their first quarter marketing dollars behind this movie and let it spread like wildfire. Miranda said no. She had final say. It was in her contract. She had earned it. And now the entire studio were slowly forming a mutiny because she refused to release the best film they had ever made. make another movie. She had lasted not even a week before it hit her. Her initial plan was to go completely off the grid for a month. She might even get into a new line of work, something charitable, give back, make the world a better place. But then it hit her. Right as she was about to finally take her first surfing lesson, make a new movie that was not Sleep Tight. This was the obvious next step. Give them another hit. Putting Sleep Tight on the shelf would hurt. It would sting. Most notably the director, Michaela. But she couldn't live with herself if that movie got released. Literally. She had become so obsessed with it that she became fearful for her health. It had killed a movie critic. The critic was a prick, but he still died. Miranda is not a monster. Even though she has made her fortune by making movies about monsters, how hard could it be to make a new hit? She had made several already, to the grand total of which exceeded $2 billion. The horror hit blueprint was in place. She knew all the ingredients it took to make a flick that clicked. First step, call the assistant. Tell the assistant to have her assistant get more assistants and crack the stack. The stack was Miranda's infamous list of scripts that she had secured the rights for. Not all of them would get made, not even close. But they were hers to either produce or not at her sole discretion. She had set her underlings in motion, and they began to read through them all. Again, as if their entertainment industry lives depended on it. Miranda put the hammer down that she wanted a pitch for each one by Sunday, 8 p.m. Hawaiian time, which was in 36 hours, everyone else time. Nobody was sleeping this weekend. Luckily for Miranda, she was used to that. The winning pitch was Deranged, a found footage movie about a man who records his first murder and then goes away to a secluded cabin on a weekend getaway with his old college friends to kill them off one by one. It was fairly cookie cutter, so Miranda made 2 swift changes. She made the main killer a woman, and she turned it from a college reunion into a screenwriter's retreat. Now it felt fresh. Now she could see it. Now she could pitch it. Beyond the kills, there was also a subtle commentary on what people are willing to do to become famous. Splice in some commentary on individualism, the gender gap in Hollywood, things to make named actors feel empowered. As if this would be a film and not a movie. Also, it was cheap. It was easy. They would make a profit. Don't overthink it. That's what Miranda told herself. Money is the ultimate Band-Aid. She told herself that a lot. Now came the fun part, getting stars to be in it. Between her now infamous reputation for spearheading films that showcased women in front of and behind the camera, Miranda had her pick of the cinematic litter. Even a found footage movie with barely any money behind it would garner the interest of some of the biggest actresses in Hollywood. The age of the characters was somewhat ambiguous, which made the first-class casting call that much more glamorous and exciting. Time to speak with the stars. Up first, Natalie Portman. Natalie, so nice to see you.
Mrs. Silver, you look radiant. I can barely stare into your eyes without crying from inspiration.
That is a bold-faced lie, but I appreciate it, Natalie. Thank you so much for reading my script.
I would lie down in traffic to read your script. Your words are my vessel to enlightenment.
You know what I find enlightening? Black Swan. The fact that I can rewatch that on Christmas morning and not feel weird about it just serves as a testament to your acting power.
Oh my God, Mandy, you're gonna make me cry. Murder me for not working with you yet.
Maybe we can change that?
I'd love to. Can I ask one thing first? Is that okay? Murder me if it is not okay, Mandy.
Oh, my God. Natalie, yes, ask away, please. You are my swan.
Mandy, I have to ask, what's happening with Sleep Tight? Will there be a sequel?
Miranda and Natalie Portman talked for 2 hours. It was intense but seductive, just like every other conversation with Natalie. Miranda tried steering the conversation toward deranged, yet it seemed to always drift back to Sleep Tight. The buzz was too bright. It ended with Natalie saying she had to run but would text her with a new time to chat. Miranda knew what that meant. It meant she would pass on the project. Time to look elsewhere. Up next, Nicole Kidman. Nicole, what time is it down under?
Ha! Too early o'clock. My husband Keith just put the coffee on, so hopefully I can sound like a real person soon. How are you, Miranda? Everyone is talking about your film, even my husband Keith. And he is such a movie novice. I love him anyway.
I love Keith. Please give him a hug for me.
Oh, I'll give him more than a hug. Oh, sorry, I've just been given some cantaloupe and it's really done wonders for my libido. Have you heard of this, Miranda? Cantaloupe!
Yes, it's one of my favorite fruits. Nicole, thank you so much for reading my script. I know found footage probably feels a little amateur, but I can assure you, this is more than that.
Found footage? Oh, wow, what is that? Sounds fruity.
Found footage is the style of script that you read. It's a bare bones look and approach.
Oh, no. I'm so embarrassed. My team said that this was a chat for Sleep Tight too. Did I muck that up?
Miranda and Nicole talked for an hour. They talked about films, directors, Australia, fruit. But Miranda knew the whole time that Nicole was going to pass. It was very cordial, but it meant that a new actress would have to be called. Time to try and use an old favor from an actress who loved taking risks. So maybe she would take one now. Rachel Weisz. Rachel, it has been too long.
Miranda, how are you, darling? Is that a beach through your window?
It is a beach. Have you heard of this thing called the ocean? It's really tremendous, Rachel.
A beach, you say? Splendid. Is that near the sun? Because I could use some color. I'm paler than Casper's balls.
Well, you make Casper's balls look good, Rachel, I gotta tell you.
You always know how to sweet talk a girl. What's up, Miranda? Talk to me, darling.
First of all, thank you for reading my script. I know horror isn't normally your genre.
Well, it's all about the words, darling. When I heard you, my favorite person, was making a sequel to Sleep Tight, I snapped right to formation. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yes, thank you. So this script is actually deranged. It's a found footage film.
Found footage.
Yes! Remember Blair Witch?
Oh, the one in the woods.
Yes, precisely the one in the woods. Groundbreaking, hugely successful.
Never saw that one. Looked fun, though. Being in the woods. Cold. Lost. Hungry. Pale.
It was fun, yes. It was fun. Miranda was starting to feel tense. She hadn't felt this way in a long time. Having to sell someone on her work? The lack of authenticity during a conversation where you felt like everything was a con. That Hollywood facade that she had worked so hard to get past. The higher you get on the film ladder, the more blunt you can be. She was already feeling less blunt, more superficial, but she felt pressured to get a name and get it soon. She needed someone who would be willing to take on the starring role of a found footage horror movie. That meant one person, and one person only. Winona Ryder. Winona? Is that a new tattoo?
Yeah, what do you think? Is it too big?
No, it's just big enough. Is it a spaceship?
Yeah, from outer space.
So cool. Winona, thank you so much for reading my script. Please, tell me what you thought.
I haven't read it yet, but everything you do is dope, Miranda. I'm so down to clown with you.
And just like that, Miranda had her star. Now it was time to make a movie. Things were moving quickly, much quicker than how Miranda normally worked. She had appeased her studio by promising to deliver a found footage horror movie that starred Winona Ryder within 6 months. That was lightning speed for a mainstream movie. It also meant Sleep Tight could be kept on the shelf, at least for now, until people stopped talking about it. And then maybe they'd lose interest. Enough interest that she wouldn't have to release it or ever see it again. Next step, hire a director. It was an obvious choice. No thinking required. Aubrey. She had served as the assistant director on Sleep Tight. Aubrey was one of the many crew members who quit during the shoot after what therapists would later classify as severe emotional stress. The symptoms for all the crew members who quit were remarkably consistent. Lack of sleep, hallucinations, paranoia, nausea, anxiety, depression, headaches. Miranda was looking forward to this job proposal on multiple fronts. 1, Audrey had earned the opportunity. 2, this could be a makeup gift for her poor experience on Sleep Tight. Sadly, Aubrey would never direct Arranged, or any other film for that matter. When Miranda went to Aubrey's apartment to deliver the offer in person, the person she found was very different from the person that she had known for nearly 7 years. Aubrey was no longer living alone. Her mother came to stay with her after growing very concerned by her behavior. Aubrey had become extremely antisocial, opting to spend most of her time alone. She would sleep most of the day. When she was awake, she barely spoke. Aubrey's mom told Miranda about these horrible nightmares that her daughter was suffering from. Her therapist advised Aubrey to keep a journal of the dreams. Aubrey did, through pictures, all of which seemed the same. They looked as if they had been drawn by children. Stick figures, smiling, big yellow suns, cars, houses, grass. And then, off in the corner, without color, in black, was a clown. Who is the clown? Aubrey's mother answered while smoking a cigarette on the back patio. I don't know. Aubrey said the clown's name is Tuck. That's all she would say. Tuck, Tuck, Tuck. Miranda tried saying goodbye, but Aubrey remained silent. She saw the scars on Aubrey's arms. Miranda was horrified. She asked her mother about it. She told Miranda those weren't cuts. I don't understand, Miranda said. What are they? Infections. Doctors are still trying to figure it out. It looks like someone is cutting her from inside her body. Time to shoot. She had found her director, Tilda. Tilda had shot one of Miranda's earlier horror films entitled Sanitation. Fortunately for everyone, Tilda had no connection to Sleep Tight. She was a pro. A little hard-headed and grandiose, but most good directors are. Since Sanitation, she had been directing true crime shows. Her most recent true crime doc was about a house of social influencers who died in a house fire. It was #1 on Netflix for 3 straight weeks. After locking up the director, they found a main location and away they went. Most of the dialogue would be improvised, so they needed a couple people who could handle that type of freewheeling production. People such as Maria Bakalova, whom Miranda greeted early on day 1. "Hey, Maria. So nice to meet you in person." "Nice to meet you, too. I really like script. Movie will be good." "It will. With this cast, I am feeling great. How are you?" "Yes, I like how you say, people murder to make famous and money. It's true, no?" "No. Yes, I mean, yes, it is true." Up next for Miranda to make feel welcome, Sandra Bernhard. "Sandy! How long has it been?" "Decades. Miranda, I could kiss every inch of your body with a blindfold on." "You stop right there, Sandy. There are people around." "They can watch, but they gotta pay." "I'm kidding, but I'm not." "Oh my God, you look delicious. Come here now so I can put you in my banana dana smoothie." Day 1 was a delight. They were ready to shoot. All the ducks were in a row. The energy on set was pitch perfect. She had assembled a terrific crew both behind and in front of the camera. Everyone was raring to go. It was a layup. Miranda was going to make this super cheap, super fun, super scary horror movie. Her studio was going to love her again. All would be forgiven. She would be right back to where she was before that demonic film threw the world off of its axis. She would never have to think about Sleep Tight again, and then she could, yes, sleep again. And then Sleep Tight got released online, and hell broke loose.
When the lights dim low and the shadows grow, a sacred hymn begins its flow. In the quiet of the night, where whispers sing, hear the spirits touch, hear the angels bring. Guided by faith in a world so vast, a love eternal, a light will cast. Oh, 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 what is feeling? Oh, 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 oh. In the calm of dawn, as the sun ascends, promises of grace and love transcends. Through the trials, through the pain we hold, a story of salvation. A tale retold. With every breath, a prayer will say. With every heart, we'll find the way. Oh, 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 what is been free?